What is up, Breaking Bad fans? Kino here, and we are back with another Breaking Bad log. Today we're looking at the second episode of Season 2, Grilled. Now, we open this episode with a classic Breaking Bad flash forward. We see a scene of destruction, with shell casings and broken glass littering the desert. We hear a noise and realize that it's actually Jesse's car, which has been shot up and is bouncing on its hydraulics. We also see a body lying on the ground dead. Like always, it's an intriguing sight, and of course foreshadowing to what will happen in this episode. After the title, we see Hank giving a debrief to the DEA. They found Tuco's fingerprints at the scene of No-Dose's murder last episode, and they raided Tuco's crew, managing to get everyone but Tuco himself. Hank thinks Tuco has gotten away to Mexico, and takes some time off in order to look for Walt, who has disappeared. Back at the White House, we're introduced to Tim Roberts, a detective and a friend of Hank's. Skyler tells him about the phone call that Walt received before he disappeared. However, Hank says that there's no record of the call, meaning that he had a second phone. Meanwhile, Tuco drives Walt and Jesse to a house in the middle of the desert. Living in the house is Tuco's uncle Hector, who is in a wheelchair and unable to speak, and instead he simply rings a bell. There's a great detail here. When Tuco gives him the water, Walt fights and grabs it for himself. Another subtle hint at Walt's greed, which will be shown more over the course of the series. Tuco, unaware of Gonzo's death, thinks that he ratted him out to the DEA. He plans to escape to Mexico with Heisenberg, setting him up in a super lab in order to cook meth. He says that his cousins are on their way up to smuggle them across the border. Walt and Jesse both object to going to Mexico, of course, but Tuco says that he'll kill them if they don't. Meanwhile, the White family searches for Walt, putting up posters with his face on it all across town. These posters remind me of the re-elect Frank Sabatka signs from The Wire, and both are obviously a simple Microsoft Word job. Later, Skyler asks about the phone call, forcing Hank to reveal to her that Walt has a second phone. She of course wonders what that could mean, and thinks that Walt might be having an affair. However, without any leads, Marie suggests to Hank that he go question Jesse Pinkman, who they think is Walter's pot dealer. Unable to find him, Hank goes to see Jesse's mom. She says that Walt was one of the only teachers who ever showed an interest in Jesse. She also says that she doesn't know where Jesse is, but reveals that he has a lowrider car. Hank asks Gomez to run a search on the car and see if it has a built-in tracking system. Meanwhile, Walt and Jesse both worry about Tuco. They try to get him to snort the rice and meth, but Jesse ruins it by mentioning that it has chili powder in it, which was his signature style before he met Walter. When Tuco has his back turned, Walter puts the poison in his burrito. However, Hector notices and alerts his nephew. Realizing that Walt and Jesse are up to something, he drags them outside and threatens them. Walt tells him the truth that they were planning on poisoning him. This distracts him long enough for Jesse to hit him on the head with a rock. They end up in a tumble, and Jesse grabs Tuco's gun and shoots him through the stomach. They decide to leave him bleeding there, and go to Jesse's car in order to escape. However, at that moment, they see a car driving up to the house. They assume it's the cousins that Tuco mentioned and run for cover, leaving the guns and the money behind in the car. However, it's actually Hank who has tracked down Jesse's car. He approaches, but Tuco, who has survived the shooting, grabs the gun and shoots at him. They get into a shootout, which ends with Hank shooting Tuco in the head, killing him. This is a scene from the beginning of the episode, and we've come full circle. In the chaos, Walt and Jesse run away into the desert unseen. This is the first introduction of Hector Salamanca, who will become an important character of the show in future seasons. This is also where we say goodbye to Tuco, one of the most iconic villains of the show. I really want to praise the actor Raymond Cruz for this performance. Not only is it one of the most iconic characters from the series, Cruz was actually filming another show, The Closer, at the same time as this one. Doing two shows at once is an incredible amount of work, and the fact that he was able to pull it off shows how good he is at his craft. It's also a feat considering that in real life, Cruz is an introvert, and the exact opposite of most of the characters he ends up playing. Originally, Tuco was going to be the main antagonist of the season. However, Cruz asked that they kill off his character early, for two reasons. One was of course the grueling schedule he was under for doing both shows. However, another was that his wife did not like seeing him as the character, for, obvious reasons.
Whoa! Damn, man, look at that, look!
And while it's definitely disappointing we didn't get more of Tuco, we can't argue with how well this season turned out after all. And that's pretty much everything I had to say about this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for another Breaking Bad log coming soon. I hate chili powder. Russell, Sean, Heart of Markness, Logan, Clean, John Reyna, Jesse Sterling, Andrew Stewart, Obstacle Racing Media, Daz J-Kit, Conan Higgins, Sam Cedarlin, Don Lucania, Celery Man, and Jenna Marie Johnson.